All right, awesome. Yeah, so my name is Timothy Halloran, of course. Welcome to the Timothy Halloran Show, or as I have it on YouTube, the TH Show. And today we have Augustin Sasserman, a filmmaker, on the show today. I hope I pronounced your name properly.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Awesome, awesome. So who are you? What do you do? And where are you from?
I'm a filmmaker. I'm a film director and producer from the Toronto area in Canada. I've been making movies for a long time. I'm now 19 years old, and I'm working on my second feature film this summer. And uh, yeah, that's a little bit of an overview of what I do.
Awesome, very cool. And what's your second feature film about, and how did you get into film?
So this feature film is called Storytellers, and it's about a young, passionate director who makes a movie with his three best friends from university. I'm trying to make it like a classic coming-of-age adventure, the type of movie that we would see from the 70s or the 80s, or that's my favorite period of films. And then you also said, what was your second part? How did I get into it?
Yeah, so like how did you get into film and where did you come up with the idea for these different feature films that you've done so far?
Okay, yeah. It all started for me probably when it started a long time ago. My dad would always, it was always movie night, and I just fell in love with movies very early. And at 12 years old, I learned that making movies, there was a job for that. Directing was a job, and I realized that day that that's what I was going to do. So that was at 12 years old, and ever since then, I've been consistently making movies to try to improve and try to get better as quick as possible. So up to now, I've made a bit more than 25 short films. I made my first feature film at 17 years old, and now working on my second feature, which is going to be much better than all of it. And for this feature film, the idea was as soon as I finished my first feature, I knew I wanted to do another one just to, you know, just to keep the ball rolling and just improve as fast as I could. And I realized that I felt that I was finally happy with my abilities as a director. So I thought, okay, let's try to make a movie with a great movie with also great production value and actors and everything. So about a year and a half ago, I started thinking about what I wanted the story to be, something simple but also very ambitious at the same time. I came up with the story and then started bringing on the team and raising the money, and now we're about a month out from starting production, so it's the sprint right now.
Very cool. So what's your fundraising goal and how much have you raised so far?
So the fundraising goal, we're crowdfunding on Seed and Spark right now. The goal is $40,000 for production, and currently I think it's day 15. We're halfway through the 30-day campaign, and we've raised $33,000 so far. So we're a bit more than 80% funded, so it's looking really great so far. And yeah, that's been also private investment on the side. I've been reaching out to private investors to investors to see if anyone wants to invest in the project. So those two things really happened in parallel for the last multiple months. But yeah, I'm really happy to see that the crowdfunding campaign is doing great so far.
Very cool. Yeah, congratulations on raising the money so far. Like every film person I talk to says getting the money and raising the money is a challenge, and fundraising is like kind of its own obstacle. But with the fundraising experiences and your film experiences so far, what would you say are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned?
So I think I learned a lot from the whole financial side. Um, yeah, that's been the biggest learning curve so far. I learned with in I learned a lot in both worlds, private investment and crowdfunding. I'll start with the crowdfunding. Um, Probably the biggest lesson I learned, which I had heard a lot and I expected it, but I didn't realize to what extent it would be true, is that the success of a campaign, from my own experience on this, comes entirely from your prep. I kind of always assumed before I started doing my research many months ago that you just have to have an exciting crowdfunding video, and then that's about it. Then it comes to you. But it really has come down to all the prep that I put in. I've been getting ready for it for multiple months, and I can honestly say that that's why the campaign has been successful so far, is all because of what happened before day one. And then for the investment side, it's been it's been interesting to see really how difficult it is to one, get a conversation, and then two, actually turn that into something tangible. So it's it's been a journey for sure, but yeah, a lot of learning.
Very cool. Very cool. So what do you think is your biggest strength and weakness professionally?
That's that's a hard one. I have a lot of weaknesses. I think I have a few strengths as well. Um, I guess I'll zero in on first strength. I think I want to say generally as a director, I think I'm strong as a director for somebody my age. You know, all these films that I've made over the past couple of years have been just to improve as much as I could. I never really looked at it as making movies for fun. It was really making movies to improve. So um, I think I'm a strong director. You know, for somebody my age, I would say probably my biggest weakness is writing. I have a lot of difficulties writing. I really have to sit down and force myself to really first it was a lot of many months of learning, and then applying was uh, a whole different story. During the Christmas break, because I study, I'm at university right now. So during the Christmas break, it was just me. I just sat myself down in front of the computer every day, all day, trying to force out the words. And so I would say that's been the hardest. Well, not the hardest part. The financial side has been really hard too. But I would say probably one of my bigger weaknesses is writing. Although I like to think that I'm improving, but it's been another learning curve.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people have that issue. Like when you go to the blank page in that screenwriting software, trying to get yourself to kind of articulate the words and the vision that you have in your mind isn't easy. For anybody watching this and they're like, oh my gosh, I have the same issue of getting myself down to just focus and bang out that script. What advice do you have to really get that script done?
You know, the only thing that I would say about that is I've never met anyone who enjoys writing, um, and I've met many writers as well, and there seems to be a common thread of nobody likes to sit down and look at that blank page, and you know there's a lot of fun moments, but overall it's a really hard and difficult experience. The one thing that seems to work for me and everyone that I've talked to is you really have to treat it as a 9 to 5 job, or you know, an all-day job. You really just have to sit yourself in front of your paper or your computer or whatever, and remove all distractions and just tell yourself, I'm not doing anything else other than writing all day for the next couple weeks until I have, you know, a solid script. And I think that's the only way to do it, really, because it's so easy to just write 1 page a week, or, you know, take it really slow. But if you want something quick and solid, I think it's really about forcing yourself to sit down and let the ideas flow.
Mm. It seems like there's no way around it. You just have to work hard and you got to be dedicated.
Yeah, that's how it's been looking for me, at least.
Awesome, awesome. And just with your project, what are some of the other milestones that remain? How do you feel about it so far? And what are some of the other challenges that you anticipate with your project?
So there's many challenges. I think the two big milestones, the two big immediate milestones are, first of all, we're not completely funded yet. So that's still a milestone that we're yet to hit, is reaching our fundraising goal. Um, that's the most immediate thing. There's 15 days left in the campaign, so that's something that needs to happen soon. The other thing is I just launched the casting call a couple days ago, so it's going to be exciting to get a fully locked cast within the next week or two. That's a very exciting one. Those are the two big milestones in terms of getting the movie made. The money and the cast are the two big things that are left. But in terms of challenges, there's a lot of, you know, um, budgetary challenges to think about, keeping things at a minimum expense as much as possible. You know, looking at there's many other things that people don't talk about a lot. You know, getting the insurance, the permits, the location agreements, a lot of phone calls and emails being sent basically. But it's like I said, we're about 1 month out, so Another big thing that's going to be happening is a lot of rehearsal time with the actors. I'm shooting the movie in 10 days, so that's going to mean that we basically need to be ready to we're not going to be discovering on the day. It's all going to be, well, we're going to be discovering on the day, but a lot of prep time is going to allow us to really be that efficient. So a lot of rehearsals with the actors and whatnot. So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes in the following month. But and who's to know what other challenges will come up by then.
Mm, awesome, awesome. And yeah, just another question I have is like, do you have any other projects that you're also developing as you're doing this one, or any other ideas, or just solely focused on this?
So I got this company who just released a book very recently. They approached me. They saw my work and they really liked my work, and they approached me asking if I'd want to adapt their book into a screenplay and direct that screenplay. So that's something that is going to happen after I'm finished this production of this movie. Is I'm going to start developing the adaptation and working with that team to get that movie made. There's also a personal project of my, not a personal project. Obviously, every movie I make is personal, but what I mean by that is my own project. Uh, Another feature. I'm only going to be doing features from now on, but I have another idea for a feature that I really want to do. I think it's going to be really great. I have a lot of ideas for features, but there's one that I think could be made very, very soon. Um, but yeah, it's. I think these next couple of years are going to be very exciting.
Yeah, no, that sounds actually really, really awesome. What is the book about? If you can say some details, I don't know how secretive they have to be about it.
No, I can. I think I can totally talk about it. The book is called Callista's Paradox, and the company is also called Callista's Paradox. The book is about. It's about this young woman. Very simply, it's about this young woman learning about her legacy or her family's legacy and her place in the world and whatnot. And it kind of has an epic tone to it. So I like that kind of epic drama style story. So it was very exciting to me when they reached out to me, and I'm excited to tackle that project. For my other movie, I would rather keep that one to myself right now because it's it's very early days, and I don't want to I don't know, it might change. The idea of the story might change a lot, so I don't want to make any
I'm curious
promises
about
or
it.
anything. Yeah, but soon enough, I think I'll be sharing some things about it.
Very cool. Very cool. And do you have any other exciting goals outside of film that you'd like to talk about?
I actually I have a lot of goals that are not related to making movies, but they are related to filmmaking. I really don't have any goal that's not related to filmmaking. I think it's all within that world. But there's many things I want to do that that are not just making a movie. There's projects I want to start and initiatives and things like that. But yeah, those are all kind of in the back of the mind until things start rolling, basically.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. And what closing thoughts or pieces of advice do you have for audience members watching the podcast today? Anything else that you want to pass along or advise people about?
Well, I think the only thing that I would say is what I tell myself, which is I think there's many big misconceptions with the film industry. One of them is that filmmaking is something is a talent you're born with. Being a good filmmaker, it's crazy how a lot of people, I thought this too until some time ago. Um, how many people think Steven Spielberg just woke up and did Jaws one day, you know, or Tarantino got his success from Reservoir Dogs overnight after just his first try, or this any point to any filmmaker and they think their success just came from immense talent and one try. But Spielberg did his first feature film, I think it was 10 years or more than 10 years before Jaws, when he was 17, and had just been working hard his whole life on getting better and better. And something you learn when you look into the lives of your idols or whatnot is how much they treated filmmaking, well, my idols at least, how much they treated filmmaking like a sport. You know, you don't get good at any sport without putting in the hours training, and it's the same thing with filmmaking. The way I see it is, it's you just need to practice, and if you have any kind of good taste, then that good taste will develop into great filmmaking abilities, and it really just comes from practice. It's sad how many people think that, you know, they make their first movie and then it's not good, and they think that's the end of their career, and that's really not how it should be. Your first movie, your first few movies will never be good, and I think the only thing that I would say, which again I say to myself, is if you just keep working hard, then someday soon you'll be really exceptional.
Awesome. Very good. Very, very wise words and piece of advice. Augustine, thank you so much for being on today's podcast episode and answering these questions. And it's been amazing to have you on. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is really fantastic.
Thank you.